Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to MYC Uncensored's Women in STEM podcast series. Today I'm joined by Evelyn Chuk, a very knowledgeable mining technical services manager, as she shares her valuable insights on what it is to be a woman in STEM. So without further ado, let's get into it. My name's Annika Shinde. I'm a grade 11 student. So I run a podcast called MYC Uncensored, and I started a Women in STEM series just to inspire the future generation of young girls, because I think there's a really big lack of representation or girls seeing other females within the field, which is why they don't feel comfortable going into STEM fields. So that's pretty much the aim of this episode, or these episodes, is to show
Okay,
that to young girls that there are other females in the STEM fields.
awesome. Good on you.
Thank you. Okay, so we can just dive right in. So, just a little bit of an introduction of yourself. What is your occupation, and what would you say your contributions are to the field of STEM? You can split your answer up in however you like.
Yeah, no worries. So, I guess by trade, I'm a mining engineer.
Mhm.
This is quite a specialized type of engineering. And while it's probably a less common field across the world, you can study mining engineering at lots of unis across Australia because we are a mining country. So many of the jobs and so much of the government's budget is made up of income from the mining industry. And we need a specialized workforce to make that happen. And mining engineering is just one of those specializations. So the goal of a mining engineer in a nutshell is to design and plan out the way that an ore body will be mined so that it's profitable, so that your business makes money at the end of the day, but also in a way that ensures that we have the smallest possible impact to the environment around the mine and the best possible outcomes for the people who live and work around the mine site as well. And this is what I really love about mining engineering. It's a complex puzzle that requires all three of those things to be true and more. We've got to protect the environment. We need to support the community. And ultimately, if those two things are true, then we can focus on making some money as well. So I've had a really interesting career so far, working fly in, fly out across lots of different iron ore mines across central Western Australia over about 10 years. And when I think about a common theme across all of the different jobs I've had, it has been bringing new minds or new technology online. And this is a really exciting time for any operation because these projects might be over $1 billion of investment, and it's your role as part of a really big multidisciplinary team to make sure that this new mine or the new technology delivers on those three things: protecting the environment, supporting the people, and being profitable as well. So as an example, I've been lucky enough to work on the deployment of autonomous trucks at 3 different mine sites over the years, and these trucks are incredible. So the wheels themselves will be twice my height, and the truck can be loaded with the weight of over 100 cars. So they're absolutely enormous trucks, and they literally drive themselves. They're giant robots. And this is a really great example of achieving the three goals of a mining engineer. We have leveraged technology to have a smaller impact on the environment because less people need to fly up to the mine every week to drive these trucks. So there are less greenhouse gases emitted. We have had a positive outcome for people because we can create new jobs overseeing the work of these trucks remotely in the city. And for those still working on the mine, autonomous trucks are far more predictable. So they make the mine a safer place to work as well. So the environment and our people are looked after, and these trucks are more efficient than the ones that are driven by humans. So ultimately, we're able to make a better profit as well. So this is a nice example, I think, of a project that's been able to meet all three of the goals. So there are lots of exciting projects that I've been lucky enough to be a part of and contributed to. And the key point is that for huge projects like these, it's a team effort. You need skilled science and engineering people in all sorts of different disciplines to make it work. And I've loved being a part of that.
That's really, really awesome. I think being a mining engineer is like probably one of the first times I've heard of this job. And also something interesting you brought up is that it's automated, right? Like the driving is automated. So it's a little bit off script, but I think it's very interesting now with AI and everything. How would you say AI and autonomous robotics has kind of played into the job of being a mining engineer, or just in terms of mining? How has it kind of changed how it occurs?
I think the industry is evolving really, really quickly. And I think there's also some catch up that we need to do between mining and how we use AI. It's a great question. Um, and I think the fact is, over the last 10 years, some of these operations have collected so much data they don't even know what to do with it. They don't have enough people to analyze it. And that's where I think AI comes in. We've really nailed as an industry being able to collect data over the last few years. And now that we have these tools available to us, we can start to use the full potential of that data to try and make some of these really big decisions. So this is probably somewhere where some of our future mining engineers can come in and bring those skills and use the data to ultimately achieve better outcomes for these operations.
Awesome. So as you said, you're a mining engineer. I think it's such a unique and niche field. So I'd be really interested into understanding what your story is for finding your passion within the mining industry.
Yeah, no worries. So, being honest, I never thought I'd end up in mining. I was actually born in a small mining town in WA, and my dad is a mining engineer too. But when I was younger, I never paid any attention to what my parents were doing. Similar to most young people, my assumption about the mining industry at that time was that it was dirty, unsafe, unwelcoming as an industry, which I later found out to be completely wrong. At school, I wouldn't say I really loved any of my subjects, but my marks were better for maths and science. And when I finished year 12, I knew I wanted to go to uni because that's what my older siblings did. But with zero careers education at school, I had no idea what course to choose. So my brother actually sat me down with the uni course guide and we went through all of the different courses, crossing off the ones that I didn't want to do. And being really honest, I crossed off 95% of the courses just because I didn't really know what they were. And by the end of that little exercise, the only course left was physics, which was the subject that I was best at school. So that's what I did. I actually spent 4 years studying astrophysics and I did some research into the evolution of spiral shaped galaxies. It was really fascinating study and I really enjoyed the course. But after 4 years of an undergraduate degree, the next step would have been to do a PhD, which would have been another 4 years of really hardcore research. And the thought of that made me pause and really think about what I wanted a day in the life of Evelyn to be. And what I realized was that I'm an incredibly impatient person. I want things to move quickly. I want to either succeed or fail quickly. I want to see results right now. So I've got a huge amount of respect for the research scientists, but I realized that my impatience was going to make me a terrible research scientist and one that wasn't very happy either. So during this existential crisis where I realized my incredibly interesting and expensive 4 years of study might never be used, I got some work experience thanks to the support of my dad at a mining consultancy. And in this job, in this work experience, I was able to use some of my data analysis skills, but this time not analyzing data from galaxies, analyzing data from rocks underground. And in that role, I got to sit with the mining engineers and I got to see the scale of the projects that they were working on and how they were able to see their design through into execution in the real world. And that's when I realized that this was the career for me. But I want to really stress I don't love rocks. I don't love heavy machinery, but I do love the excitement that comes with working on massive world class projects. So for some of our larger integrated mining operations in WA, we're talking about over 2 million tonnes of rock moved every single day. If we used humans to do that rather than the trucks, we'd need every person in Australia to have 80 kilograms in their backpack every single day of the year to match some of these integrated mining systems. These mining systems, they spend and make billions of dollars every year, and we employ thousands and thousands of workers as well. So iron ore mining was the place to be for me because it's exciting, it's fast, it can be quite dramatic when things go wrong, and I could see myself being part of some of the decisions that make a really big impact here.
Amazing. I think it's really, really interesting how you brought up that you switched careers, and it's pretty broad spectrum, but I think that pretty much shows that how big the field of STEM is and how many opportunities there are. It's not just a desk job where you have to be sitting at a laptop doing the same thing over and over again, which is something I really want to stress to the audience. Um, on that, just adding on, what I think you kind of spoke about this, but what made you decide that it was the opportunity for you? And I guess what's your favorite part of the job?
Yeah, no worries. I guess so. I've talked a bit about mining engineering. I could quickly talk about my current role as a mine technical services manager because this is a leadership role. So I lead a team of about 70 science and engineering professionals. Some are mining engineers like me, and others are from different STEM fields as well, and all of them work fly in, fly out across a couple of different mines. Being really honest, I don't think I decided that this was the role for me. It's the role that I kind of found myself in after working really hard in the same team for a long period of time. And because of that, and a bit of luck as well, I've been supported by my company to now lead the team that I was part of. And my favorite part of the job is actually the people element. I want my team to feel the same level of excitement that I feel when looking at the huge scale of mining operations. I want them to be happy at work, and I want them to see their contributions in action. And when you think about it, 70 people working 12-hour days, they can achieve a lot. And I'm just blown away every day by the expertise in my team, the cool technology that they're leveraging, and the science that they're applying as well. So I'd say that's my favorite part of the job.
Amazing. That's really, really interesting. So I connected with you through Shannon. So I wanted to know if you could tell us a bit more about the Innovators Tea Party, like its aim, what events it runs, and why is fostering a community within the STEM field, especially for females, so important?
Yeah, so outside my day job, I also run a charity called the Innovators Tea Party. We're based in WA, and it's our goal to inspire more girls into science and engineering roles. I started this organization when I first started working because I realized that when I finished school, I really didn't have access to resources that would help me choose a great career for me. And I also knew that there was an army of women in science and engineering who have very successful careers. And I wanted to make sure that high school students had visibility of these role models to tackle some of the gendered stigma attached to STEM as well. So the Innovators Tea Party has partnered with a handful of other nonprofits and WA-based businesses who are also passionate about inspiring the next generation into STEM. So organisations like Curtin University, the WA Data Science Innovation Hub, and the WA Government's Chem Centre, and then a couple of really supportive businesses like Strategic Minds, Horizon Power, and Kiesi Australia. And these organisations provide us cash to fund our programs, and a huge amount of moral support and encouragement to run our programs for free across all of Western Australia. And the programs are really designed to connect women in STEM experts and leaders with high school students, usually for a cup of tea and a career conversation. So we have hundreds of volunteers, and we engage thousands of students as part of this community. And for me, it achieves exactly what I needed as a high school student: some education about the different jobs out there, and some confidence to follow in the footsteps of other women in STEM as well.
Amazing. I was just wondering, just an add-on to that, did you, when you were younger, have any role models to look up to? It doesn't have to be a woman in STEM, it can even be a man in STEM, or just a mentor in general, and how did that kind of play a role in how you viewed your career or career paths that you could choose?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I wouldn't say that I had a really small core group of mentors that kind of guided me through. But I think at any stage in my education and my career, there's been certain people who have guided me and helped me and influenced me. And so while I won't mention any names, but I think at any point in time, if there's a certain person that you trust in whatever area you're trying to develop in, leaning on them for guidance can really, really help. And even if they're only a couple years ahead of you in terms of their development, sometimes those perspectives can be really, really useful to help you understand where you go, where you want to go, and what you want to do and what you should do. And that's really what the Innovators Tea Party is all about. about is normalizing progressing in science and engineering for women, and also just offering that career advice and helping some of the students feel really comfortable to pick a job that they enjoy.
Amazing. And just one final question. Do you have any words of wisdom or advice that you would give to the future generation of girls who are interested in pursuing STEM or might be a bit iffy because they don't see other females in STEM or just in general are a bit iffy about the field?
Yeah, no worries. There's probably three bits of advice from me. I think often the stigmas attached to certain jobs are over exaggerated, and that's certainly true for the mining industry. While I've been inspired by lots of different women in mining, some of my biggest supporters at work are men, and the majority of the men in my workplace want nothing more than for the whole team to feel welcome and for us to do a good job together. Um, the next piece of advice I think I have is around confidence. I think a lot of young women and girls do struggle to find the confidence to speak up in some of these professional environments, and um, yeah, I think the advice I have for you there is that you need to do a bad job 10 times to develop the skills to do a good job on the 11th time. And that's 100% okay and normal. And feeling nervous or unsure is normal as well. And in fact, feeling a bit anxious or nervous about a situation can actually be a really great lever to motivate you to do an even better job than someone sitting next to you who might not be nervous at all. Um, and the other thing I'll say about misconceptions in STEM jobs is that STEM jobs really aren't just science and maths. So, science and maths are some of the tools that we use, but there are other skills that can make you a great STEM leader as well. So, examples like having compassion for the environment and for the people around you, being able to communicate and coordinate and organize things, and being able to understand not just the science, but some of the social aspects, some of the financial aspects, and seeing the bigger picture. All of those things contribute to a great STEM leader. And again, I'm a mining engineer, but I don't love rocks. I don't love heavy machinery. I certainly don't love mine sites, but I do love my job. So when people say do what you love, I think all too often people take this far too literally. And it's important to think about what lifestyle you want and what you want an ideal day in the life of you looks like at work. So it's not the what that you need to love, it's actually the how. So for the younger generation of female leaders, I guess my advice is not to be put off by the stigmas, because there's lots of reward waiting for those who can do the hard work. Secondly, be that person that pushes yourself through any nervous feelings that you have on the inside, and soon enough you'll come across as confident on the outside. And finally, if you're okay at science and maths, but you've got something to offer when it comes to some of those other really important skills, compassion, organization, big picture thinking, then you might find that a STEM job is exactly the right environment for you to be awesome in your career. And there are lots of women in STEM already, and we're just waiting for you to join us.
That's amazing. I think even though this session was very short, it was super insightful. And thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you wanted to add? I think we
Not
covered
at all. I just want to say a big thanks for inviting me to have a chat
no
with you
worries. Thank you
today.
so much for your time.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Annika.
Thank you so much.